Okay, so a lot of work's been done here today, and I want to thank everybody that viewed the video from earlier about separating the turkey. So I just want to, it's still early in the day, so I just want everyone to kind of, I've already cooked the dark meat. There it is, ready to be put back in the oven and reheated right when I need it. But the good news is I've been making I'm going to make gravy. So I had a lot of requests for people asking me to show them how to make a gravy. So these are the drippings in the bottom of the pan that we're going to make a gravy from, and it will be the really great gravy that you'll love. So I've already deboned all the meat and boiled it down and made a stock. So as that stock there is really important to the flavor of the gravy, and we're going to of course add these herbs, fresh sage, fresh thyme, little black pepper, and I season with bases as opposed to just plain salt, because you'll get the flavor of either the chicken, or if you're making a beef gravy, use a beef base because it's salty enough that you're going to add the salt and you're going to get the extra flavor from the base. Don't forget, my turkey breasts are still waiting to go in the oven and be roasting just in the last hour or so before serving it, so it's just nice and juicy. So, okay, so getting on with the gravy. We've got all your drippings and dark on the bottom of the pan. This is where your flavor and all the coloring is going to come from. So you really want to heat it up and scrape the bottom. That's going to be the color, the flavors, and then we can strain out all these bits of meat and everything later. But all of this nice stuff on the bottom is what you want. My mom showed me how to make gravy when I was like 10 years old, and I've always made it the same, and it's just the only way. You could do it with a pork roast, a roast beef, roasted chicken, believe it or not, and especially with turkey. So you can see it's hot. So what you want to do is you want to add the flour, and you know what, if you're gluten-free, add cornstarch. Believe it or not, you can make a cornstarch gravy. It's really yummy as well. So anyways, here we are, and so we're going to add the flour, and it's going to start to make what we call a roux, and add enough flour. The more flour you add, the more gravy you're going to end up with, and so you can use it for leftovers and reheating and so on. So yeah, but just add enough so that it's not going to turn up greasy. Basically what you're going to do is the flour is going to absorb all of the grease, all the fats, and you're going to make this nice roux. And now remember one thing, the most important thing about adding flour to anything whenever you're cooking, it takes 30 minutes for the taste of flour to come out. So whatever you're going to make, you want to simmer it for at least 30 minutes to get the taste of the flour. It'll taste crappy at first, but after 30 minutes and the flour flavor's gone, it's going to be really great. So you can see I'm scraping the bottom, and slowly, as we add our stock to this, the bottom's going to just start coming off, and all this nice brown coloring is going to end up in our gravy. And like I said, this is great with roast beef. A little bit harder with the prime rib if you want to cook it medium rare. But get rid of the rack on the bottom of your roasting pans, because you want the meat to sit on the bottom and kind of crust onto the bottom. So I'm keep adding more flour, because I got to tell you, I cooked way too much turkey, and I want to have turkey for a couple more weeks. So the more gravy, the better. Nothing worse than running out of gravy, but you can see that this is cooking. I've got it sort of turned down fairly low. You don't want to burn it. It will burn on the bottom if you're not continuously scraping it, right? So you can see I can start getting it off the bottom of the pan. The flour's cooking. And now remember, flour is a thickening agent, just like cornstarch, so you're going to end up with a nice thick gravy. But right now, it's just a matter of making this roux and kind of cooking it down a bit. So you can either cook it down in the pan like this, or you can cook it down after adding the stock, etc. I don't think I've ever done this before with one hand, but what the heck, eh? So there we go. We're adding, by the way, I'm getting back to the chicken base. If your gravy's really light and you want it a little bit darker, throw in a couple packs of beef base. It'll give you a little bit of more coloring and make for a much richer looking gravy. I use that trick every once in a while too. So you can see it's boiling really great. I'm going to turn it up just a tat to get it boiling a little bit more. So there's the stock, or you could be using water if you didn't do it ahead of time. You can add water, but you're going to get more flavor from a stock, which is part of the reason why I cooked my dark meat early, so I'd be able to have all these steps. Remember, I'm hours before dinner right now, and you can see it's all getting nice and thick, see? So this is going to be great. It's the flour, it's all cooking off the bottom of the pan, more stock, and then, you can see that the gravy isn't as dark as you want it to be, but it never really is with with a turkey or a chicken gravy. So once again, I would just throw in a little packet of beef. You're not going to taste it, but it is going to give you the coloring that you might want to have. So here we are. We're almost done, except for the fact that we want to cook this for 30 minutes. Get the flour taste out. I'm still using a spoon. It's really thick. I got more room to make this. I mean, I've got a lot of gravy here. It's going to taste like turkey. I'm going to add the rest of this stock. And we've got probably like lots of gravy. And it's going to be great because we know we're going to use fresh herbs. So we'll toss in the sage and the fresh thyme. Always black pepper with everything. You can see it boiling. 30 minutes. Remember to boil it for 30 minutes. And probably not. And remember, when you're cooking, you can always add more. You can't take any out. So there's our gravy. That's going to cook for 30 minutes. It's going to get darker as it cooks because all the meats and everything's going to come off the bottom of the pan. Seriously, this is going to be really great. I hope this helps out. Once again, cook it for 30 minutes. Keep adding stock, and if you run out of stock, like I just did, you can just add water. But you've got the most flavor out of your bird possible, and this gravy is going to be well, world class. I hope you have a really nice Thanksgiving. I hope that helped with your gravy questions. Cheers.